Order, honorable members. Honorable clerk, confirm we have quorum.
Honorable Speaker, there is no quorum.
Sergeant at Arms, ring the bell for 10 minutes. Honorable Leader, majority ensure that you have your mask on, and every other member.
Honorable Speaker, there is quorum.
Order of business.
Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, papers.
Next order.
Order number 5, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 6, notice of motion.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
The Honorable Chairman for Tourism, the Honorable Mayo. Order, Honorable Member for Chepkume, have your mask on. Proceed, Honorable Mayo.
Tourism and Social Welfare Committee to inform the House on the status and effort put in place to retrieve the body of Dr. Chumba, who drowned on Sunday, 30th August 2020. I wish to respond. I got yesterday when we saw that statement, I went to the department and they gave me this information, which is right. So, a tragic accident occurred on Sunday, 30th August 2020 at around 1:30 p.m. involving a 31-year-old lady with Dr. boy. The same lady hails from Rio Marakwet County and slipped into the first floor flowing raging water while posing for a photo taken by her partner, Mr. Kasum, who had accompanied her during their picnic session. The matter was immediately brought to the attention of the Department of Tourism and Social Welfare, and the incident was also reported at Mosodiot Police Station on 30th August 20th. Body number 14/30/08.
The department informed the county disaster management team and saw the recovery efforts commenced forth and have been ongoing on daily basis since the accident occurred. The task is being carried out by the county disaster management team, local divers, and a team of divers from Chebloch and the surrounding community. Since then, the department informed the county disaster management team that took up the matter. Various county officials have visited the scene and held meetings with the members of the public and family members to show solidarity on the search for the body. And it continues likewise to today. Officers from our department, Jesume Sub-County, and constantly on the ground working with the scene teams. Her Excellency, the Deputy Governor, visited on 6th. The County Secretary visited the scene on 1st September. The CCM Tourism Culture visited the scene on 5th September. The Sub-County Administrator, Jesume, visited the place as from 3rd to 5th. And the Ward Administrator for Lemokwa visited the scene on 1st. A team of divers is expected today, which was yesterday, to join the search team on the site. Challenges during the recovery of the body. The main challenge hindering recovering the body is raging water occasioned by heavy rainfall upstream. There is also lack of equipment or gear. The department has given future plans for that, but that was not the case. In order to prevent future occurrences on the site, the department intends fast-track the erection of guardrails on designated points of the waterfalls. In fact, the committee had talked about building the guardrails, which is going on. Recruit and deploy divers and tour guides of Jepkit and other such tourism sites. Work with the Department of Roads to improve the access roads to the site. Erect warning sites in designated points of the site. Warning sites are not there, so they need to put it there. Hold elaborate brief sessions for tourists at the ongoing education center before embarking on their tour to the site. The department regrets this unfortunate accident and wishes to pass deepest condolences and God's favor to the family of the deceased and pray that the body will be successfully be retrieved. From the Committee of Tourism, we also send the same, and on behalf of the committee, I also send condolences to the family so that I also pray that the body will be found. At that juncture, Mr. Speaker, I think that is the report from the department. Thank you.
The Honorable Cynthia Muge, the response has been given. Do you have any comment to make?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to appreciate the Chair of Tourism for the quick response and the fact that he has treated, or he treated this matter with the urgency it deserved. So, Honorable Chair, I think among the questions that I asked was at least for the executive or the responsible department to be able to show support and the effort that they are using in trying to retrieve the body. Honorable Speaker, I want to say that I am satisfied. Of course, since at least there are some efforts ongoing, including and not limited to the team from Bomet that I have heard being spoken highly of, that is trying to help or that is coming in today to be able to help in the retrieval of the body. However, Honorable Speaker, I can see that they have gone ahead and given us what their future plans in regards to the safety of the tourists visiting the area. Honorable Speaker, I want to say I think it is just. Honorable Speaker, allow me to leave it at that so that we can be able to maybe look into that very soon, so that I can be able to stop the loss of lives. Because so far I hear someone who has been there for a few years says that he has seen 10 deaths of the same nature, Honorable Speaker. So, you know, the parents were asking how many more people is this county government of Nandi waiting to have dead before they act? So, Honorable Speaker, I hope the body would be found, at least for purposes of the closure of the family, and I hope the department, as it says, or as it has put in writing, is going to ensure that in this financial year, with the allocation that they have, they will ensure that the safety measures are actually undertaken in the area in terms of the structural safety measures, not to speak about the several number of employees in this county who should actually be deployed according to their qualifications and skills, so that they can be able to guide or be tour guides in the area and provide some sort of protection to the tourists. Because, Honorable Speaker, we wouldn't want to lose this tourist attraction. We have very few in Nandi. So thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to say that I'm satisfied, and thank you to the Chairman.
Honorable Koich.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to also join the Honorable Cynthia Muke in thanking Honorable Mayo for the quick response, and by extension the department, because this, the response has come in time. However, Mr. Speaker, I am a bit skeptical about the plans this department has. I am aware that there was some allocation of funds to Chepkit waterfall for some bridge and the likes. I would have wished that this kind of allocation should have also been used to erect these guardrails. It is really so saddening to lose people who are visiting our county as tourists, a source of revenue for this county, in a manner in which it can be avoided if these guardrails were erected. Mr. Speaker, we normally also have funds allocated for emergencies. I would have wished to see or get undertaking from the department on what immediate plans they have. Aside from the search mission they are in to retrieve the body, there should have been some plans to make sure that at least, even if not the entire stretch, has guardrails. The most dangerous section should have been factored in and treated as an urgent matter to be able to avert any future loss of life. Mr. Speaker, I feel that the department and the county has sufficient resources within its reach to make sure that guardrails, especially at the backdrop of an accident like that has claimed life, should be done. So I hope the chair can make follow-up on this and make sure that there is some immediate plans to erect those guardrails. Subsequently, this is not the first case. We have had cases. We have had cases of people drowning in, I think, a Tuya area, sometimes back, some children. What is this that the department responsible for emergency issues doing? Aside from the firefighting engine, do we have this human resource to attend to these emergencies arising from such incidences, and also including the the kind of, because we know that there are heavy rains currently being experienced. So I think the department has some uphill task. Lastly, I think this assembly has previously passed a motion on establishment of a disaster unit in this county. We cannot have situation where when emergencies arise, you are being called as an MCA as the hotline to attend to emergencies. Can we have a centralized way of addressing issues? Sometimes when we present motion to this house, proposal to this house, we mean well for the county. It is incumbent upon the executive, especially the line departments, to take our prayers, our motions, our resolution as a way of partnering to ensure that this county is run in the best way and services reach the intended populace of this county. Thank you.
Honorable Swadi.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I just want to appreciate the committee through the chairman and also the department for a quick response on this issue. But Mr. Speaker, I can see the challenges during the recovery of the body is about, one is heavy rainfall, which is it's beyond our control. But number two is lack of suitable equipment or gear, which as a county, we can address this issue. Number one, the family is suffering because if they lost their daughter, it is now 10 or so days, and up to now they don't know when the body will be recovered. I think it is prudent for the chair maybe to advise the department to write to the national emergency response team to assist in this recovering of the body of this young lady. Instead of waiting for rainfall to come down and also purchasing of equipment for this county, we can look for another assistance from national government, which they have already established a national emergency response team, so that they can chip in and assist this family to get their daughter. Because at this time, I know the family, it is really in a very big panic where their daughter is. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order, Honorable Cheriot. Kindly get assistance from the Sergeant at Arms to get a proper mask before you rise to contribute. Honorable Cheriot, out of the chamber. Honorable Member for Tirik, husband comment.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. It is indeed sad that we are having such a report within our county. I think if there is a place that this county assembly has allocated resources year in, year out, is the Chepkit tourism site. We wouldn't expect that matters safety are neglected. In real sense, they say safety first. So it is sad that this house resolutions are not taken seriously. I do recall I came up with a a motion of improvements of roads to all tourist sites. And to date, nothing has actually happened in regards to this. I would really propose that Chepkit waterfall area be actually closed until all the safety measures have been put in place so that we stop losing lives there. It is regrettable that we lost such a young person. So I do thank the committee for their good work, but in respect to the place, the future plans, I think we need to really, part of it is to ensure that it is closed, it's not put into use before safety features are put in place. Thank you so much.
The Honorable Cheriot, the Honorable Member for Lelmoko Ngechek, then Honorable Members, I'm sure you are aware on the matters of statements. I would only allow for another 10 minutes of it. So Honorable Cheriot.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also stand to thank the Committee on Tourism, especially the Chairman, for the efforts actually that the department is putting to ensure that actually there is no more loss of life, especially in parts of Chepkit and some of our tourist attraction areas. However, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that apart from actually what the Department of Tourism is doing, we also in the Department of Administration, the government, in the sector of emergency response unit, I was there yesterday. Today also I've attended a session on that this morning on matters to do with Chepkit. And as we are speaking now, we have sent some expertise, as said by Honorable Member for Tourism. We have sent 7 expertise. We have received 4 from Baringo, and we are expecting also 4 from Pomet, who will join hands together in search of this lady. However, Mr. Speaker, we have also allocated some money for disseminating information on tourists who want actually to view and spend their time in Chepkit, because we are aware that now the schools are closed, colleges, most of our children are taking their time actually to picnic around Chepkit and some other tourist attraction areas. Of importance is that the department, especially in the emergency, have employed 3 tour guides, and their main duty now is to disseminate information on where actually should people spend or take their selfie, because we understand actually this lady slighted when he was taking a selfie photo. So they have taken a note to inform areas where actually if one wants to spend time there. There are some areas which are very dangerous. So dissemination of information actually has been factored in from yesterday, and I think it will go on from yesterday until when we have people actually will be stationed there for the better part of our sessions. Now, also, Mr. Speaker, as the Honourable Member for Nandils has said, we passed a bill on the Disaster Management Unit 2018. Actually, there are some money which we set aside actually to facilitate and provide guardrails in that areas of Chepkit, actually where it is most slippery. But actually, up to now, I think the department is working in the sister department of tourism to ensure most of the areas actually, because the money was very limited, we will join hands with the Department of Tourism so that actually we provide a very strong and efficient areas actually which can provide safety for our tourists. So thank you, Mr. Speaker. We will join hands, the Department of Administration in the line sector of emergency unit and tourism, so that actually we'll furnish all the sufficient information on actually what is to be done there. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Kevole, and then Honorable Member for Lelmokwa. Kevole, Honorable Kevole.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Hoja ni damu, Mheshimiwa Spika.
Or is it Honorable Fred?
Kipengele namba 45, Mheshimiwa Spika, inasema wasi ya kwamba kama kuna siku ya majibu Mheshimiwa Spika isipite saa 9 kamili Mheshimiwa Spika.
Yes, Honorable Fred, and I had indicated I had given an extra 10 minutes, so there is only 5 minutes to go, and that will be done. Honorable Kevole, you can conclude now that you have noticed there is shortage of time.
Yeah,
2
thank
minutes,
you.
then Honorable Member for Lelmoko, 2 minutes, and the Chair, if you have any.
Habari Mheshimiwa Spika.
What is it, Honorable Fred?
Kipengele gani umetumia kuongeza muda kwa sababu Mheshimiwa
Order, Honorable Fred. Order, Honorable Fred. You cannot be able to challenge the direction. Order, Honorable Fred.
Unajua sheria inaruhusu pia niulize hata kama ni
Honorable Fred.
kwa sababu tunapata kipengele Mheshimiwa Spika.
Order, Honorable Fred. And I did indicate that I was aware and I notified members that there is time for it. And I had said, for purposes of the interest in this matter, I was allowing 10 minutes. And so, Honorable Fred, if we continue rising, we'll even burn the 10 minutes. And I've indicated there's only 5 minutes left of it. So, Honorable Fred, you need to also be considerate. The matter at hand is not, it's not about the roads. It's about a human life lost. Order, Honorable Fred. Order, Honorable Fred.
Mheshimiwa Spika, ningependa kupata habari kwako Mheshimiwa Spika.
Honorable Fred, I have ruled that I have given 10 minutes for the matter to be concluded. And Honorable Fred, I will notify you. And I can, if it would interest you to note that if we had started the session at exactly 2:30, we will have been able to conclude this matter. But because of lack of quorum, which includes your absence, we started late. So, Honorable Fred, and that's why I'm being sensible enough as a speaker to give proper time that is sufficient to address the matter. So, Honorable Fred, order, Honorable Fred.
Uchulishaji Mheshimiwa Spika.
Order, Honorable Fred. Honorable Fred. That is so directed. Honorable Gavole, conclude. Order, Honorable Fred. Order, Honorable Fred.
Oja habari Mheshimiwa Spika.
What is it, Honorable Fred?
Kipengele wasi Mheshimiwa Spika inaniruhusu niulize hoja habari.
What is it, Honorable Fred?
Mheshimiwa Spika, kipengele namba 45 inasema saa 9. Hata kama umeanza saa 9, saa 8 na 57 Mheshimiwa Spika. Inasema saa 9 Mheshimiwa Spika. Hakuna namna wanasema tumechelewa ama nini Mheshimiwa Spika.
Honorable Fred.
So utusomee kipengele Mheshimiwa Spika.
Order, Honorable Fred. Order, Honorable Fred. I have said that you need to be very sensible on the matter at hand. I wish I would be able to translate that in Kiswahili. Yes. You would be able to understand. But I would urge the honorable member for Kabiet to translate that to you. Because I don't want, I want, with all the respect you deserve, I wouldn't want to go beyond that. So, Honorable Gavole, would you conclude?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Though Fred intervened whatever I was to say, but let me take this time and say that I feel for the family, Mr. Speaker. You know, during such time, such months, I was one of the victims of the circumstance, and I know what the pain the family is going, plus whoever was involved in such an incident. So, Mr. Speaker, I concur with what the Honorable from Terik Ward has just said. That area should be closed. Meanwhile, as the renovation will take place. And Mr. Speaker, you know, these are the people who went there happily, but now the tragedy has befallen them. And such a thing, there were good people who had actually wanted to contribute to our county to bring up the revenue. But now the tragedy has ended up in a very miserable manner. And I urge that precaution, the county should avail money to go and make sure even they hire the Chinese who knows how the dangerous places because of the terrain that we are living in. Even in China, I was there once before I was elected, and I know how China looks like. If I compare the same, I want to say that we should hire such people to come and build to protect our people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Member for Lelmoko Ngejek.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also rise to thank the Department of Tourism for the immediate action also, that I have taken, also it's late, but I know, Honorable Speaker, the issue of Chief Kit as in itself has become a problem. Most of the time, when such incidences occur, then we tend to come as if things have not happened in the past. So I am appealing to the department to work very closely to ensure that at least the budget, even which we hear most of the time, you know, when we go there, the residents, they are being told that 16 million had been put to do some kind of renovation. When you hear 16 million, it's a lot of money. And then when you see the work done, then it is very in the knee. So I am appealing, Honorable Speaker, that the department should work closely with the two departments to ensure that at least something is done. Challenges have been there. We have been called. There was a times that we are there. Others took it as a political platform of which we tend to calm because the residents of those area, of that area, which is in Mosom in the other side and Elmok Kwangechek, Jesume in the other part, just to blame the government of not involving itself in times of safety measures taken in the fall. So for now, Honorable Speaker, there was an issue again, which I can tell my chair, about the Taibas of Chief Kit. I brought about 8 members. No one even has been employed. And you know, those people have been the ones who are the immediate people to save. So I didn't been employed, most of them, even 3. There was a request. I told the minister, and he told that they had forwarded the names to the Minister for Administration. So I am requesting so that at least those people will feel that they are part of it, because sometimes they are being brought to even Western and other parts, and they have not been employed. That is my request at the area MCA of Lelmok Pongechek, so that at least whenever we shall be working together with them, they know that they are within the county. That is my request, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Or is it Honorable Member Fernandez?
Mr. Speaker, I'm seeking your clarity and indulgence on this so that we might put the issue raised by Honorable Fred to rest. I am seeing, I think the Honorable Teacher Rono is not in the chamber at the moment. Maybe he stepped out, but we have some other teachers within here. Standing Order 45-1 reads, notwithstanding Standing Order 41, sequence of proceedings, there shall be a time to be designated statement hour every afternoon sitting day, commencing not later than 3 p.m. Commencing not later than 3 p.m. I want you to give direction on this matter. Is it that statement should be answered before 3 p.m. or that it should start not later? I don't think, maybe the little English I know is troubling me. Can you make me understand in this statement? So give that so that maybe next time when we are answering, we might not be saying that it is already 3 p.m. We stop somebody from giving an answer or the likes.
Well put, Honorable Member Fernandez. Order, Honorable Fred. Order, Honorable Fred. I think that standing order is very clear. I wouldn't want to interpret, unless there is a member who doesn't understand that statement as read, that order as read by Honorable Gideon Koech. I would want us to proceed with the business of the day. So I would want then direct that on this matter of the statement that was sought and responded to by the Honorable Chairman for Tourism and Culture, by order, Honorable Chairman, I would have given you, but I want to give you this direction, that with taking into consideration the comments that have been made by members and the issues that have been raised, it would only be proper that the Committee on Tourism and Culture with the Committee on Devolution do a proper report about Chepkit Falls, because like the members have intimated, that funds have been allocated to this project, I think 2 or 3 financial years, it will only be proper for the 2 committees and bring on board the member for Lelmo Kwangechek to do a proper report about Chepkit, so that we are not talking about half-baked information when we need to have a proper report. So I would want the 2 committees with the member from Lelmo Kwangechek to do a proper report within the next 14 days and be able to respond to this, because it is really shocking that we still lose lives, and Chepkit waterfalls did not emerge the other day. It's been in existence since the birth of the world. So I think I would direct all the honorable members, so you do that report for the benefit of all the members. I so direct. What is it, Honorable Cheriot?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was requesting that actually we have another committee between devolution and tourism, so that we come up with a concrete information on that.
The honorable member, I have not talked about another committee. I have only given that there will be a joint report. So proceed to do the report and deliver this honorable house. Next order.
Information.
What is it, Honorable Teresa Mayo?
Honorable Speaker, it's so sad that the 2 clock faces we have in this assembly are both misleading.
Noted, Honorable Teresa Mayo. I would imagine they must have frozen temporarily before you spoke. But the Sergeant at Arms office should be able to ensure that they are properly functioning, unless Honorable Kevolwe, who says that he had been to China, unless he might be able to interpret if it is Chinese timing at this time, but it is proper. It should be according to the East African time, the clocks that we have. Next order.
Order number 8, motion.
Honorable Ngetich.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to move a motion that this House adopts Finance and Economic Planning Committee report on the Cabinet Memo number 002 of 2020 on the short-term borrowing laid on the table of the House on 9th September 2020. Honorable Speaker, as you are aware that the Constitution and the Public Finance Management Act 2012 placed significant responsibilities on the County Assembly over the management of public resources, particularly with regards to resource mobilization, allocation, monitoring, and control. The County Assembly of Nandi received a Cabinet Memo number 002 of 2020 on 8 September 2020, requesting the County Assembly to consider and authorize a short-term borrowing of up to Kenya shillings 350 million. The Equity Bank Limited becomes the first banking institution to approach the County Executive and Assembly of Nandi in proposing banking sector proposals that would result in the payment of salary on dates between the 25th and the date of Treasury releasing with costs. The purpose of the short-term borrowing is to allow the county government to undertake the payment of salaries, settling other personal emoluments, including allowances paid as part of salaries. The circumstances informing formulation and submission of Cabinet Memo on the 9th September was largely prevailing and predictable circumstances of deadlock at the Senate on the third generation revenue allocation formula. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Finance and Economic Planning Committee as currently constituted comprises of the following honorable members: Honorable Joshua Ngetich, Chair; Honorable Justin Chemyango, Vice Chair; Honorable John Gepenai, Member; Honorable Philip Chepkwony, Honorable Geoffrey Imbuchi Kifolve, Honorable Clara Chepkemei, Honorable Pius Kibrop Murray, Honorable David Morocco Bwambok, Honorable Pius Singway. Mr. Speaker, sir, committee
Inquiry,
mandate.
Honorable Speaker.
What is it, Honorable Cynthia? I would urge you to hold until the member is able to conclude because he's moving a motion.
Honorable Speaker, it is in within the motion.
You allow him to move the motion, then you can be able to raise before it's seconded. I would
Honorable
allow.
Speaker, the process of moving the motion
What is it?
taking-
Order, Honorable Ngetich. Can you freeze? What is it, Honorable Cynthia Muga?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would like to inquire if the Honorable Member, while moving the motion, can just give us the recommendations or the findings and the recommendations, because we have had this paper for quite some time. We have gone through it, so the literature is a bit too much. Let him just go to findings and recommendations, then we can.
I think, Honorable Cynthia Muge, you'd be in order, and the member for Kosirai to be encouraged to remind himself of practices, best practices that we have had in this honorable house. Honorable Ngetich, you hear the sentiments by the members.
Got it, Honorable Chair. Honorable Speaker, as guided by my colleague, Honorable Cynthia, Honorable Chair, let me move to committee recommendations. That is on page 9. The committee also agreed unanimously that the following forms that conclusively recommended on the above findings. The term of the short-term borrowing shall lapse on September 10, 2021, and the agreement shall be subject to monthly review by the County Assembly upon reporting directly by the bank to the County Assembly of the borrowed funds in the previous month. The processes of banking operations be considered taking into account the views of the CPK and the COB on the presentation of the funds requisition, given that this is a new process. The County Assembly only approves the short-term borrowing to a maximum of 300 Kenya shillings 350 million monthly. All the workers or employees serving in the county government of Nandi shall be paid for the salaries from the short-term borrowing, respectively of their status, irrespective of their status, and with no discrimination and workers. The agreement shall provide for the termination if the county assembly is seized of any other that pertains or has been evidence as violation of the Constitution. Conclusive remarks. Having raised these issues and presented my committee findings and recommended on the way forward, as I seek this House to adopt this report. So, Honorable Speaker, I request Honorable Justin Chemnyango to second.
Honorable Chemnyango. Honorable members, I then proceed to propose that the motion by the chairman, Finance Committee, on adoption of the committee report on cabinet memo number 002 of 2020 on short-term borrowing laid on the table of the House on 9th of September 2020 for deliberation. Honorable Leader of Majority.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And Honorable Leader of Majority, also, if we go by order, Honorable Leader, if we go by the practice that Honorable Cynthia would want us to go by, and for the respect of your office, in future you would be properly in order to speak last, but you can proceed.
No. Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. This report, Honorable Speaker, I think it was by consensus, and the entire House, the order of yesterday, Honorable Speaker, agreed to have the report as it is, Honorable Speaker. I was begging that you just put the question, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Cynthia Muge.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. In fact, the Honorable Leader of Majority has actually made me speak to this matter, what I had decided that I will keep cool and quiet. Honorable Speaker, he has sparked. Honorable Speaker, I want to, just as we said yesterday, because I was in the sitting, that we tried to build a consensus. Honorable Speaker, consensus, the basic meaning of consensus is meeting halfway, agreeing on the agreeable things and also agreeing to disagree. But Honorable Speaker, the consensus that went on here, Honorable Speaker, was not a consensus per se. It was not a win-win situation. Because, Honorable Speaker, while we were here yesterday, we raised a number of issues. Issues ranging from the exact amount of money that this memorandum is trying to borrow, or the exact amount of money that is going to be borrowed as a result of this memorandum going through the Assembly. But, Honorable Speaker, allow me first to read or to speak to the recommendations of the committee. I find the recommendations of this committee very contradicting. When you look at the findings and the recommendations, you keep going back and forth just to confirm what you saw in the recommendation and what you have seen in the finding. There's a finding number 6, Honorable Speaker. This finding talks about how and when can a loan be given, this kind of loan be given. And it says, 1, it has to be as a result of public participation. Number 2, it says it should be, so it says legally only the views and recommendations of the National Treasury as the guarantors, the public, who are the people we represent, the County Assembly, and the money lending firms are required prior to approval of the short-term borrowing loan. Honorable Speaker, you see the mention by this particular finding that talks about the public. We are all aware that this one has not gone to the public. It has not gone to the public. So if it says that in the findings, and then in the recommendations it says, we actually give a go-ahead, can actually go ahead and borrow. See, Honorable Speaker, it is very contradictory. And again, Honorable Speaker, from the document that we have that was brought here, again yesterday, Honorable Speaker, if you looked at the memorandum, it was saying it is asking for permission to borrow 350 million. Of course, Honorable Speaker, during the deliberations, we were asking 350 million, why 350 million? And in the justification of the officers who appeared here, they said it is a ceiling. Honorable Speaker, there's a difference between an amount that is stated that we are asking permission or we are asking for approval to be able to borrow 350 million, and a statement that says we are asking for approval to borrow an amount that does not exceed 350 million. Honorable Speaker, those are two different statements. So on paper it says, conclusively, we are asking for permission to be able to borrow 350 million, and by word of mouth or orally, they are saying we are asking for permission to borrow money not exceeding 350 million. Honorable Speaker, just as I said yesterday, it's not like we are people, or this county assembly is a group that does not have trust or cannot trust people. We don't have trust issues, Honorable Speaker. We do. The problem is the trust that we have been able to accord the executive, especially the Department of Finance, has been abused, not once, not twice, but severally. And Honorable Speaker, as I said yesterday, there are other cards that are under the table. Yesterday, I stood here, Honorable Speaker, and asked the executive, the members who are present here, the representatives of the executive, to be able to give us the exact figures. They say they want to pay net salaries of the county employees. Give us a payroll printout of how much money is supposed to be paid or supposed to be used to pay the county executive and the county assembly members. What is the figure? Honorable Speaker, there must be a figure in it. This is a government system. It has a system. The payroll can be able to show us the exact amount that is supposed to be paid to the employees. And you see, Honorable Speaker, I had not gotten here yesterday before, but I said there must be cards under the table. But Honorable Speaker, they have not provided the payroll printout. And it is a very simple thing, Honorable Speaker. It is a click of a button, and you have it. But they have decided to include that one in the so many cards that we don't know. Because, Honorable Speaker, it is one thing to give you the exact amount of money that you need to build a house, and it is another thing to be given extra money. You see, the extra money, we don't know what you're going to use the extra money for. And this time that we have a financial crisis in this county, Honorable Speaker, it will be not good. It will not be good at any point to be able to give a surplus of borrowed money for it to be used with zero prudence, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, I still insist that for me to be able to support this particular motion on borrowing of the 350 million, I think I need papers. I need to see something, at least as much as most of the time they have provided these papers and they have gone against them. Honorable Speaker, at least it will go in record that it is not this county assembly that is to be blamed for the mistakes. And Honorable Speaker, let me remind, my honorable colleagues that it is not once and it is not twice that the county executive has been found in between a hard place and a rock, and they just laid the blame on the county assembly by saying it is a document that was ratified by the county assembly, which is true, Honorable Speaker. It will be very true. So, honorable members, before we put this into consideration, before we put the people of Nandi into another debt on top of what they have, which is actually unbearable right now, we need to look at it and think again. Honorable Speaker, I wish we had prudence in this county. We wouldn't be here today if we had prudence. If we had prudence, Honorable Speaker, you can be sure all these statements I'm making right now, they wouldn't be there, because I know these are trustable people. And Honorable Speaker, it reminds me, at some point in time, we have a circle in this assembly, a very powerful circle that helps most of us. That is where we run to all the time. And I remember there was a suggestion by the circle that can we be able to empower the circle, give them more money. See, Honorable Speaker, let me tell you today, Honorable Speaker, a bank is a bank and will never stop being a bank. The bank will first put its interest before any other person's interest. It will first consider what it has and what it will gain from this particular deal. And you see, Honorable Speaker, while the Honorable Chairman of this committee was going through the report, there is a very interesting statement that it made. It said, Equity Bank was the first one to approach the executive in regards to advancing a loan for payment of salaries. Honorable Speaker, that is a business entity. And you can, I think I can invite all of us to be able to look at it. On page 3, the second paragraph, it says the Equity Bank Limited became the first banking institution to approach the county executive and assembly of Nandi in proposing banking sector proposal that will result in the payment of salaries on dates between 25th and date of treasury release with costs. Now, Honorable Speaker, before we think about anything else, we should first know that equity is in business. It is in this for business. We should not just sit and say we have money that is going to be zero interest for the first 30 days. Honorable Speaker, they have serious professionals in the bank who have looked at the prospects of this particular deal. What do we stand to gain and what do we stand to lose? And let me tell you, there is no bank that takes a risk that it stands to lose. It always stands to gain. So, Honorable Speaker, these people are not even coming out clear. What does the bank stand to gain and what do we stand to lose? I don't think this group actually handled this matter with the seriousness it deserves. It should have been able to tell us what we stand to gain as well. So, Honorable Speaker, we are broke. We don't have money. People are suffering. People who have rented houses cannot be able to pay their rents in this county, and those are employees of this county. And again, Honorable Speaker, when you come, because they are saying 350 million that they want to borrow is to be used to pay net salaries. Honorable Speaker, net salaries means minus every other provision or allowances for the staff and employees of this county, Honorable Speaker. So you can imagine paying me my net salary. I wish I could be able to bring you my pay slip right now. You would be surprised. If you paid me today my net salary, it would have been as good as you paid me nothing. You did not give me anything. Because all of it does not get into my hands, Honorable Speaker. So actually saying that borrowing a loan to pay net salaries is as good as not helping us, Honorable Speaker, and the employees of this county, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to say that I do not support this particular motion. I do not support this particular memorandum that says we should be able to borrow money, especially, as Honorable Fred says, for recurrent expenditure. You see, Honorable Speaker, an organization that borrows money to pay its employees, that is a red flag, Honorable Speaker. It means that particular entity is completely run down. It does not even have the capacity to stand, not even to stand, to kneel. It is actually on the floor, flat on the floor, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to say that I do not support this one. As much as if I had supported it today and it goes through, I would maybe get the salary and be able to go to my place and run the few errands, because errands that the honorable members run, they are money related. Everything that you do is money related. Everything that you want to do, you must have money. Honorable Speaker, I would be pleased. But Honorable Speaker, looking at the bigger picture, Honorable Speaker, I want to say I do not support this particular motion. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Sanga.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. I also stand here to say I congratulate the committee for the work they have done within the shortest possible time. I support the report, however, there are some issues I wanted to be clarified or to be included. For instance, I wanted to be made clear that the 381 support staff to be included in the money. Should be very clear on the recommendation. Again, I want it to be very clear that as County Assembly of Nandi to have powers to terminate the agreement if we find out that it does not hold water anymore. Again, I was also asking, in case there is delay from the National Treasury to pay us counties, and then there is cost implication of about 1.7 million per month. Remember, when we passed the budget, we didn't foresaw such, and we did not consider where will the county government of Nandi get the monthly 1.7 million to pay for the cost of the loan. Again, remember of late, payment of our salaries, especially as county assembly, it had been delaying more than executive reasons. There has been issues on allowances. The National Treasury has been questioning the payment of our allowances. Just in case we have paid our gross salary together with allowances, and then the National Treasury disagree, and we have already taken the money, how will the executive be able to meet that cost for the bank? Otherwise, unless those ones are cleared, I will support the report.
Honorable Fred Kimboy.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, nimesimama kushukuru kamati. Nafikiri ni muda mfupi sana wamejaribu wamefanya. Lakini kuna maswali machache kwa hii sheria Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwangu nimeuliza nimesoma imesema kwamba imetoka kwa mawaziri. Ya kwanza nataka nipewe maandishi ya kwamba mawaziri waliamua nini. Kwa sababu unajua wewe andika mawaziri bure na hakuna kitu. Hakuna, kama walikaa chini kuna kikao. Lazima kuna uamuzi walisema ndio wakafanya hivi. Sijaona Mheshimiwa Spika. Ya pili Mheshimiwa Spika, kaunti ya Nandi itakuwa ni aibu sana kuomba loan na ni serikali. Na ni kwa mwaka mpya ni mwezi 3. Mheshimiwa Spika, unajua ni aibu sana wananchi waangalia kwamba sisi tunasimama hapa leo kuomba pesa ati tulipe wafanyakazi. Mheshimiwa Spika, kuna siku nilikuwa kwa mtandao nikisema county government imeshindwa, hii county ipelekwe Nairobi iende national government kwa sababu wameshindwa kulipa wananchi. Na saa hii mnaona yale nilisema imeonekana kwa hii habari yao. Mheshimiwa Spika, wanatudanganya Mheshimiwa Spika ati
information
hakuna Spika ati anadanganya kwamba Mheshimiwa ati kuna
what is it what are you saying, Honorable?
Yeah,
are you on point of order or
I want to inform Honorable Fred.
No, order Honorable Sang. Would you want to hold until Honorable Fred concludes?
Honorable Speaker.
I've asked, would you want to hold?
No.
Is it urgent?
Yeah.
Order, Honorable Fred. Order, Honorable Fred.
Honorable,
what is it, Honorable Fred?
I've kept quiet, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Fred.
And I've also learned that there are some members to give them a priority.
Order, Honorable Sang. Order, Sang. What is your point of information?
I want to inform Fred that it is not in Nandi County alone that we are supposed to have to pay the employees. That when we talk about being the Nandi County being taken to the national, it's like the House, Honorable, and you know that we are waiting for the CRA, the Commission on Revenue Allocation. We have not been given. And if you heard from the treasury that if the senators, the stalemate from the senators will not be, they will not solve by next week on 15, we will go up to next year. So this is another issue that we are solving. It is not an issue of the Nandi County. It is a national disaster. So as an assembly, it was another way of rescuing the members and the employees. Currently, we have the tenants, we have members, they are coming here, they say, what can we do? It is not the issue of the county government, it is the issue of the national. So this was the issue that we are solving. So let us not do politics in terms of our welfare. This is the welfare of people, and if a member you are okay, you will say, don't give me, you wait for the national to solve, and then you will be paid. That is what I was saying, honorable members, because when we lie to ourselves here every now and then, honorable speaker, so I'm not honorable speaker, don't allow the members to be talking more times.
Order, Honorable Sang.
Point of information, Honorable Speaker.
Further information.
Point of information, Honorable Speaker.
What is it, Honorable Teresa Maya?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would like to inform this House that actually this is not a very serious loan for the county government. It's just that before the salaries are remitted from the county government, the bank takes over to pay the county government's workers on behalf of the county government as it waits for the money. This happens even with the TSC. You realize that TSC members who earn from Equity Bank, they earn as early as 21st, 24th. While the bank itself will wait. This is like an after service for its members. So let's not take it as if it's a do or die thing. You can imagine our salaries are used to pay loans in the banks. For a long time now, we have been suffering interest. No one has asked anyone where the members normally get interest to pay on top of what the banks owe us. So if the county government of Nandi, because of the delay, will look for like 1.5 million to cushion the 350 million, what is wrong with that? So let us actually help the employees who cannot even pay their rent, who cannot feed their families, because the Senate has a stalemate. This is a prayer coming too early for us, and we need to actually embrace it. After all, the rules here say we will be doing monthly evaluations to see whether they are working for us or not. So actually that is the information I intended to.
What was the information, Honorable Koech?
I also wanted to inform Honorable Fred that this loan is not a monster in the House, Honorable Speaker. Loans have always been given out everywhere, both individually and governments, Honorable Speaker. Up to including our country, Kenya. They have acquired loan, Honorable Speaker. Up to including other counties, Honorable Speaker. There are so many counties. Even I was reading in the newspaper, Kisumu County has secured a loan in Kenya Commercial Bank, Honorable Speaker.
Order, Leader Majority. Have your mask
Oh.
above your nose.
I know, Honorable Speaker, you had a problem, Honorable Speaker. I know.
Order,
and
Honorable.
thank you for making us safe, Honorable Speaker. I know you are
Order, Honorable
an example of the, and you'll still advise us, Honorable Speaker, how to behave because you've gone through this, Honorable Speaker.
Order, Honorable.
And I take your precautions, Honorable Speaker.
Have you concluded your information, Honorable?
Yeah, I've concluded.
Honorable Fred.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika. Unajua saa zingine hata nikilala usiku saa 9 nashangaa na wale watu wanafaa kunifundisha mimi. Kipengele namba 90 lazima ukue wasi. Yale mambo unasema kwa hii bunge lazima ikue wasi. Usiseme ni kaunti gani imeomba na haujaonesha. Hiyo ni msemo tu. Ya pili Mheshimiwa Spika, Mheshimiwa Terry hapa ni mtu amesoma, ni mwalimu. Anaelewa hata Senate wakisonga mpaka next year tutalipa milioni 9. Fine milioni 9. Unajua ni yeye hata tukae bila hiyo pesa. Kwa sababu tulikuwa tumetoa pesa ya Kenya milioni 9. Kwa sababu kipengele inasema wazi. Hii mwezi mmoja ikipita 1.5. Ile nyingine milioni 1.5. Unaangalia vitu kama hiyo tunaangalia. Usiangalia hapa, angalia mbele. Mheshimiwa Spika, ukiangalia hiyo makaunti unasikia imekuwa tumesoma kwa gazeti wameomba pesa ya development. Hawakuomba pesa ya mshahara. Serikali hata mimi nimeenda kwa kamiti ya control budget. Tumekaa chini tumeongea. Wamesema mshahara ni mshahara. Hakuna vile unaomba hata yuko hiki kipengele sijui watatumia gani. Kipengele hata ya kaunti hairuhusu sisi tuombe loan ya mshahara Mheshimiwa Spika. Labda kwa ile maendeleo ya kaunti tunaweza omba. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa mimi mwenyewe nimesema siungi mkono kwa sababu gani? Sisi ni viongozi, wale waliofanya makosa ndio wananchi wasilipwe ni hao mawaziri. Wakati wa kikao yao wanatumia pesa ya mshahara kulipa kasi. Hiyo ndio imeleta shida kwa hii bunge Mheshimiwa Spika. Si ati serikali kuu. Sisi kama county assembly huwa tunatuma mtu Nairobi kwenda kutuletea pesa pale. Wakifika pesa hakuna, utakuja kuambia namna gani? Lazima tutapika fine kwa sababu wakienda pale ikifika tarehe 30 na hakuna pesa, controller pacha anasema kujeni tarehe 10. Tarehe 10 tayari tumechajiwa 1.5 milioni. Na sasa hivi mnaongea kwa sababu tunataka mshahara ya kesho. Tutaletea kaunti ya Nandi shida mingi zaidi kwa kuomba pesa. Tayari sisi tumevumilia, si ati iko shida gani? Na sisi nimesikia kwanza mtu akisema, nilisikia jana ile akisema ya kwamba ati hiyo pesa hatuwezi daiwa chochote. Mimi juzi nimeomba pesa kidogo bank ya wiki 3 nimeambia nitalipa 600. Ni wiki 3 peke yake. Hakuna siku bank wanapeana pesa bure. Lazima tuelewane na tupewe sheria yote ili tukubaliane. Na pia sheria inasema lazima wananchi wajue. Mimi naungaje kitu yenye agenda kwa wananchi. Mimi hata kama mnapitisha sawa, lakini kwa msimamo yangu mimi nimesema sitaunga mkono kwa sababu sheria yote ijapitishwa Mheshimiwa Spika. Mheshimiwa Spika.
Information rule of Speaker.
What is it, leader majority?
You know,
Order, Honorable Fred.
Honorable Sang.
Honorable Fred.
Honorable Sang, Mr. Speaker.
What is it, Honorable Leader? Leader majority.
Yeah.
Before you speak, you wait until you are cleared. What is your information?
Honorable Speaker, just like Honorable Sang for us, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Fred has secured a loan and he is comfortable. He has just indicated, Honorable Speaker, that is why he is comfortable. Other members here, Honorable Speaker, are in CRB.
Order.
They cannot be able to secure.
Order, Honorable Koech. I will not allow you to take that direction about Honorable Fred. You need to learn to respect the privacy of some engagements of individuals. So, Honorable Fred.
Mheshimiwa Spika, unajua ukisema ukweli wanasema unafanya siasa. Hao wenyewe wanafanya siasa.
Honorable Fred, have your
Mheshimiwa Spika, unajua mwili ya watu sio sawa. Mimi nikipumua mara 3 inanisumbua Mheshimiwa Spika. Mheshimiwa Spika, na wasiwasi ya nini? Mimi nimekuambia utupatie hii habari ya kuleta sema wewe ni positive au negative ujatuletea. Hiyo ndio najua inasumbua wewe Mheshimiwa Spika. Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi nimeambia waheshimiwa kila mtu abebe mzigo yake, mtu ametumwa kwa wadi yake akuja wakilisha wananchi. Na lakini nikisema ati wananchi wakijua kwamba tunaomba loan kulipa mshahara, hiyo itakuwa ni maajabu Mheshimiwa Spika. Ya pili nilikuwa nasema Mheshimiwa Spika, hakuna vile tutazuia. Kama pesa hakuna kwa treasury pale, watangojea mpaka tarehe 15. Saa hii ni treasury ndio mbaya. Sasa ukienda kwa bank, itakuwa tunaongeza 1.5 million every month. 1.5 million. Kwa sababu hauwezi kama sisi kama county government, akina yale nabo akasema hao ndio wanalipa ingekuwa rahisi. Lakini ni serikali kuu. Serikali kuu kama hawana pesa itachelewa. Na ikichelewa tumelipa pesa mingi juu yake Mheshimiwa Spika. Hiyo ndio maana nimesema sitaki shida kaunti hii yetu ya Nandi. Kaunti yetu ya Nandi tuko na pesa mingi. Tuko na chai Kaimosi, tuko na mashule, tuko na university, tuko na biashara. Hiyo pesa inatosha kulipia wananchi. Wangepitisha sheria inawaruhusu watumie ile usanyaji wa pesa walipa wafanyakazi. Sheria inawaruhusu bila kuomba pesa yoyote. Na tayari wametuambia wanasanya milioni 350. Sasa hiyo pesa inatosha, wangetumia hiyo pesa kulipa wafanyakazi. Kwa sababu saa hii ukiangalia vile wanafanya saa hii, hawa watu wanataka kukata kuamua vile wanataka. Juzi Mheshimiwa Gavana amekosa. Yeye mwenyewe amesema wabunge walifanya makosa. Walisema wazi. ya kwamba sisi tulifanya makosa hapa kupitisha vile vya hesabu. Mimi nikajua kuna siku mheshimiwa, hata kama umerudi au hujarudi, utakuja kutafuta nyumbani kuulizwa yale ulifanya ukiwa hapa, kwa sababu ni sheria ya Kenya, ni sheria ya county. Wananchi walitengeneza sheria tu kufuata, na hiyo ndio tunataka tuseme. Ningependa waheshimiwa, kama wanataka tuunge mkono, waende wafuate sheria, iende kwa wananchi, walituletee maandishi, habari ya mawaziri wale walisema, tujue nini naendelea, tukutanisha wote tupitishe. Hiyo ndio najua, hakuna siku ndawekwa jela, lakini kwa hii mimi nasema nei.
Honorable Member for Turik.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would wish to start from onset to say that I object this arrangement, basically because the committee did not consider the law, the PFM Act in its totality. I think when you look at the PFM Act, in terms of borrowing, it is actually saying that the borrowing should be for capital projects. That is section 58A. That is number one. Number two, if you look at section 140, section C, the borrowing should have been envisaged in the county physical strategy paper. I would wish that paper be produced in this house so that we see if it was there, if it was considered at that particular time. Number three, do we have the debt management strategy for this county indicating over the midterm? Is it there? I think this is a house of law and procedure. I think for me, whatever we are actually doing is illegality. And I wouldn't support illegality. Furthermore, we are actually signing a blank check to the executive. Whom are we paying? Whom are we really paying? If you're just saying 350, where does this bigger figure come from? We do not have a proof as an assembly to really say that we have tangible evidence that we have the people that are supposed to be paid. So for me, I wouldn't really support this because it is unlawful. And if you really get out there, in fact, you'll actually be astonished by the comments you get. Let me quote even some, in quote, big up Koita. They're even interested to get this money than ourselves. And you get to wonder, why is it that there's so much interest on this money, on this kind of borrowing, yet it is not a capital borrowing? So, for me, I would say that let the county look into other avenues of collecting revenue so that we're able to settle this obligation and be able to pay for our staffs. If you all recall, we had to inconvenience even contractors in the last 2 or 3 payments that have been made in order for the staff to get their payments. Now, all the options have gone. We are now going to the other option of saying we want to take a loan. It is a sinking county. I totally do not support. Thank you.
Honorable members, I think for purposes of proper guidance to guide the Honorable House, it is important that when we quote legislations, that we read through those legislations so that, Honorable members, the sentiments that we are making here need to really be able to be that which can be validated. The statements that have been made by the member for TERIC, I've checked through the sections that is indicated. I would urge that if you read section 58, it is referring to the cabinet secretary. So section 58 is in reference to matters at the national. If you read the section 140 that you've indicated on the which is referring to the county government, you are right to talk about the fiscal strategy. If you read through section 140, 1C, the fiscal responsibility principle and the financial objective of the county government set out in its most recent county fiscal strategy paper. So I think it is proper so that we are not misguiding the Honorable House. So I thought it is proper that that be clear to all of us, Honorable Members, because I think moving forward, like the Honorable Member for Kapsabet always reminds us that whenever you mention something, it is good to read through. Section 142 that you've referred to, you read through subsection 1 and 2, I would refer to your sentiment on only for development. If you look at subsection 2 or 142, it is any borrowing under subsection 1 may not exceed 5% of the most recent audited revenue of the entity. So I think that should be of interest to you. And again, subsection 1 of the same 142, it is the county assembly may authorize short-term borrowing by county government entities for cash management purposes only. So I think, Honorable Member, it is good to have that in mind when we are making those comments. Honorable Koech, Nandils.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this particular report by the finance team. Mr. Speaker, we don't live in isolation. We are not an island, and we cannot continue suffering, and particularly put those in the Department of Health at the mercy of the Senate, at the mercy of the disbursement from National Treasury. I am confident that with this particular recommendation given by the committee, and with the fact that if we adopt this report, I am happy that the committee indicated that the term, in their recommendation, that the term of the short-term borrowing shall lapse on, it's actually the executive had proposed that we give 5 years. But here the assembly, in our own wisdom, we say we make it 1 year. And there is an underwriter at that point in time also that on a monthly basis we shall be reviewing based on the borrowed funds the previous month. So, Mr. Speaker, I really want to beseech all of us. We know that, as I said when we were doing the Kamukunji, we know that we don't trust each other. We have been wounded severally. But when it comes to issues of salary, can we be mindful of the staff? In fact, those that earn less than 20,000. And be mindful of ourselves. Nowadays, you don't tell anyone, wait for end month. Because when it is end month, that is the most driest period of in the pockets, in our pockets. As for the issue of blanket check, I am happy that also it is clearly indicating that it is a ceiling of 350. I want to just beseech members that we agree that in terms of this payment of salaries, there should be a recommendation here, and I wish that there would possibly be an amendment to this particular report, so that we have recommendation number 5, that the payment should include NHIF subscription or payment, so that Mr. Speaker, our employees also access NHIF services at the facilities. We don't care about KRA because it is partly their problem that we are not receiving funds. They collect less or collect more and find itself at some, maybe some offshores, whatever. So at least in this report, the Honorable Chair, I don't know why that was not captured, but it should include the NHIF payment. So, Mr. Speaker, it is so, we have been doing, personally, there are some roads I have been doing in Andils. I have gone ahead and requested some fuel from the multinational. But the problem is, you've requested for fuel, but you must ferry the operators from Kapsabet to Nandils and back. You meet their allowances for the day. Because essentially you cannot tell anybody you are being paid. It is N1, but nobody has any shilling in their pockets. But with this, at least you can make an action and say, oh, you've been paid 28. Make sure you plan yourself to be at your workstation. So, Mr. Speaker, as much as we don't trust finance department, at least let us give the benefit of doubt to pay us at least every 28th of every month with this particular agreement with the lenders. Of course, I had an issue with the report capturing equity. I don't know why the report captured the lenders when actually it was a memorandum to this House to approve that they secure some grantors. Because we know we should give fair competition all the banks. All the banks that have shown interest in this particular, entering into this particular agreement. So that it does not come to the point where we say, we as an assembly did approve that particularly it becomes this particular bank that is doing the lending. I fully support the fact that the executive has found it wise through the cabinet to enter into an agreement with these particular lenders to be able to secure us funds. As for the interest, we did ask yesterday, and it will still come back to us. We passed the budget here, so when there is any change in terms of budgeting, it is still this House. As a matter of fact, we are praying so patiently that when eventually the stalemate is resolved at the Senate, Nandi County gains some funds, which would necessitate also a supplementary budget. And at that point, when we are doing the supplementary, we might make a resolution and say, now that we have the stalemate is resolved at the Senate, we do away with this particular scheme ended by the county government of Nandi with the lenders. Thank you, I support.
Honorable Member Pius.
Asante sana Bwana Spika kunipatia hii nafasi ya kujangia hii hoja. Nafikiri Bwana Spika, nikienda nyuma, kuna wakati serikali ya KANU alikuwa na problem ya pesa vile vile. Wakati alikuwa amesuiliwa na donors, alikuwa amekataa kutoa pesa katika Kenya. Lakini wakati huo marehemu Kuto alikuwa na pesa. Na walimu alikuwa naenda kuombewa kwa Kuto, alafu analipwa walimu, baadaye pesa ikifika wanalipa kwa Kuto. Sasa hii si kitu ya kwanza. Kwa hivyo vile jana tuliongea na tukauliza watu wa executive, watu wa finance kuhusu hii mambo na tukakubaliana. Sasa sioni kitu kigumu hapa kwa sababu tunahurumia wale wafanyikazi ambapo wamekomboa manyumba na sasa hiyo wamefungiwa. Kuna agent siku hizi ambapo anapewa hiyo kazi, huyo agent anakuja na weka kifuli kama hujalipa na wanaweka tarehe 5, pengine tarehe 10. Sasa vile kama sisi waheshimiwa, hatuwezi kuhurumia wafanyikazi wetu anani. Tuwasaidie walipe mshahara yao. Hata saa hii sisi kama hata ingekuwa sisi wenyewe hakuna problem, lakini tunahurumia wale wengine. Kwa hivyo Bwana Speaker, mimi naunga mkono tupitishe mambo ili walipe wafanyikazi, tuendelee mbele tukingojea ile pesa. Kwa sababu senators wako na mambo yao huko juu. Na mimi nafikiria wakati wote wanaweza pitisha na hiyo pesa ilipwe na mambo ishe namna hiyo. Nafikiri sioni shida hapo.
Honorable Member for Kiptuya. Honorable Cynthia Muge, have your mask on. Honorable Chiriot, have your mask on.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika kunipa nafasi hii niweze kuchangia. Mheshimiwa Spika, mahali tulipo sasa sio kupenda kwetu, ni kwa sababu ya bunge la Seneti limeamua ya kwamba halitaki kaunti ziweze kuendelea, na wamekuwa na mchezo ya kusukuma mbele na nyuma. Katika sheria, Mheshimiwa Spika, ni kwamba sheria imepitishwa, mabunge za kaunti zinaweza omba ama ziazime pesa kutoka kwa banki. Na Mheshimiwa Spika, nimekuwa na daktari mmoja tukakutana na yeye leo saa 7. Akaniambia nimekosa pesa mpaka nimeenda nunua kafuli 10. Nimeweka kwa mlango ili mwenye nyumba akija asipate nafasi pa kuingiza kafuli yake ndio niweze kuingia. Sasa hizo ufunguo natembea nazo, na akanionyesha ufunguo zimejaa kabisa. Akaniambia ili ngoja giza inapoingia ndio naweza kwenda unyo pole pole aste mpaka niingie katika nyumba yangu na niweze kuingia. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, hili jambo ambalo tuko nalo hapa si jambo la mchezo. Ni kama mtu umeambiwa ni kitu ya kutumia akili, sababu umeambiwa ni kama unatakana uende Nairobi na unaweza tumia basi ama utumie gari. Kwa hivyo mtu anasema ya kwamba sababu basi halipo, sasa siwezi tumia gari. Kwa nini usitumie tu akili utumie gari, na una nafasi zote zitaenda katika katika nafasi yake. Kwa hivyo mimi Mheshimiwa Spika nitasema ya kwamba afadhali tuokoe hawa wafanyikazi. Si vizuri, nilisema hapa juzi ya kwamba sijui niliamuka saa ngapi, sababu sikutarajia maneno kama haya yaweze kufanyika kwangu. Na hata Mheshimiwa Fred, wakati tulipokuwa hapa hatukuwa na shida kama hii, lakini hatuwezi laumiana, sababu wakati nchi inapoendelea na ndio vitu zinazidi kubadilika. Kwa hivyo mpaka tukubaliane ya kwamba lazima wakati vitu zinabadilika na pia sisi tuwe flexible, tuweze kujiwezesha, tuweze kubadilika. Tukiendelea kuweka katika misimamo zetu, Mheshimiwa Spika, hatutaweza kusaidia wananchi ambao walituchagua. Hatutaweza kusaidia Nandi. Maneno kama haya yakitokea, wacha tulegeze misimamo zetu. Tunajua tunaweza weka misimamo na huenda wakati
Honorable Maru, you out of order.
Wakati unapoweka msimamo, Mheshimiwa Spika, kuna yule mtu ambaye anaumia. Na wakati mtu anaumia, Mheshimiwa Spika, watoto yake labda na familia. Wakati unapoajiri mtu mmoja, kuna familia zaidi ya watu 20 wanamtegemea. Wakati mtu anapopea mtu nyumba ya kukodi, kuna familia zaidi, huyo mtu pia ana majukumu ya kufanya. Labda alipojenga hizo manyumba aliweza kwenda kukopa. Na wakati unaposema ya kwamba bank kama imekubali ya kwamba iweze kusaidia shida ambayo tuko nayo, ambayo ni ya muda, sisi tuko hapa tutachunguza. Hasa mimi nikiwa katika kamati ya hazina na pesa, tutachunguza, tutafuata kabisa wale kutoka kule kwa governor, tujue ya kwamba hizi pesa zimeelekea mahali palikuwa panahitajika. Ni wapo hii shida itaisha. Hatuna budi kurudi hapa na kusema shida imeisha. Tusimamishe hiyo kitu na hiyo pesa ziweze kusimama na tuweze kuendelea vile tulivyokuwa. Kwa hivyo jamani, tuwe na roho ya umoja. Tusaidiane kwa maneno. Tuache kuweka misimamo ambayo haitatusaidia na watu wanaumia. Mimi mwenyewe nikitembea tauni hii ni vile mnasemanga mbule shindu. Ni sawa tu, ni sawa, lakini nitasema tu kwamba wacha tusaidiane.
Honorable Member for Kiptuya, you are out of order.
Tulishaji Mheshimiwa Spika.
Honorable Member for Kapsabet.
Mheshimiwa Spika, ningependa kujulisha Mheshimiwa rafiki yangu ya kwamba sijasikia Mheshimiwa mwenye amesema haungi mkono. Wamekataa kwa sababu ya sababu. Kuna sababu mingi kwa sheria. Mimi nimekataa kwa sababu bunge ya Senate au jadiliane juu ya pesa ya mshahara, wanajadiliana kwa pesa ya maendeleo. Hiyo tu sheria, hatujasema tunakataa. lakini sheria yenye iko hapa, yale mambo wametumia hapa si mzuri, kwa sababu Mheshimiwa Spika, juzi tumeuliza mshahara ya wafanyakazi ni ngapi? Haifiki milioni 350. Tayari wameomba milioni 350. Sasa hiyo ndio makosa tunakataa. Lakini si hata sijasikia Mheshimiwa Komena ama nani amekataa. Hata Mheshimiwa wa Chekunyuku aliuliza niambiwe vitu ndio niunge mkono. Sasa hivi mnaanza kupendua maneno tumekataa nini? Mnataka mvunje sheria kwa hii bunge? Hii bunge iko na sheria. Hiyo ndio maana tunaambia rekebisheni hiyo maneno. Ndio tuunge mkono, hatujakataa, lakini sheria ndio mbaya, sisi si wabaya.
Honorable Kavole,
Mheshimiwa Spika, nilisema ya kwamba kuna sheria ambayo inaruhusu eneo bunge ama counties ziweze kuomba pesa kutoka bank. Kwa hivyo hatujaenda kinyume na sheria na hatujavunja. Ni vile wameweka ya kwamba unajua wameweka pesa kwa kujumulisha. Iwapo budget yao inaweza songa juu, hawafai wapite kiwango cha milioni 350. Lakini ole wao, sababu kesho hao wafanyikazi sisi wakati watakaposema ya kwamba kwa nini hatukupitisha, tutasema ya kwamba madaktari wa Kigoma na mambo mengine, kuna wale ambao tutaelekeza sasa kidole cha lawama. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Honorable Walter Tino.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also rise to support the motion by Honorable Ngetich, Mr. Chairman for Finance. Only, Mr. Speaker, that I think some members haven't understood clearly what this document says. Honorable Speaker, this is a temporary, it's a temporary loan, Honorable Speaker, for the county government of Nandi to cushion the workers from the uncertainties, Honorable Speaker, such as the delays from the Senate in releasing the funds, Honorable Speaker. And when the funds are released on time, Honorable Speaker, the county will not be borrowing. So I think that's the first thing that you can understand, Honorable Speaker. And I want to thank you, Honorable Speaker, for guiding us under the BFM Act, Honorable Speaker. That's 141, 142 that you have read to us so that you can understand clearly that we are borrowing these funds purely for personal emoluments, Honorable Speaker, not for development. Number two, Honorable Speaker, is this borrowing will cushion our staff, Honorable Speaker. Especially, and I want to urge the Honorable Fred, Honorable Speaker, that we can get a member who is working in Kapsabet Referral Hospital, and he comes from Kabiet, Honorable Speaker. He rents the house in Kapsabet, and he earns only 7,500, Honorable Speaker. So they cannot continue waiting for long without getting salary. Yet we can have an avenue like this one, which has been created by the Executive, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you are aware that even the drivers, I have a driver who comes from Tindri, Honorable Speaker, and they are in my ward. Yet they earn the salary about 10,000, Honorable Speaker. They have been in a crisis. I've been supporting them so that they can rent the house, Honorable Speaker. Number two, Honorable Speaker, on the issue of borrowing, that is using this standing, the BFM Act, Honorable Speaker. And I want to thank the chairman and the team for finance, Honorable Speaker, because they have indicated clearly that the term of the short-term borrowing shall lapse on September 10. That's only 1 year, Honorable Speaker. And it is subject to review every month. And I want to thank the chairman for indicating that, that term, Honorable Speaker, so that we can be reviewing every month to ensure that if they are borrowed, let's say 200 million, those 200 million have gone to what and what. And I want to tell the chairman to be strict on this so that we can, as an assembly, monitor this loan very frequently, Honorable Speaker. Let's say today we can pass this motion, Honorable Speaker, and maybe by Monday we get our funds. So on Tuesday, let us get a report as an assembly so that we can know the assembly has gotten how much, the executive have used how many shillings, so that we can be on toes to ensure that the same amount can be used and be utilized to save the workers of the Nandi. Honorable Speaker, when you check again on the recommendation number 4, that the chairman has clearly indicated that all workers or employees serving in the county government of Nandi shall be paid for the salaries from the short-term borrowing, irrespective of their status and with no discrimination as an worker. Honorable Speaker, you are aware that some workers are not being paid directly using the payroll, Honorable Speaker. We have those who are being using the interest and whatever, Honorable Speaker. So the chairman have clearly indicated that the borrowing should be used to pay all the workers, irrespective of their status. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to support this motion and urge members that we have been suffering. Today is 10. In fact, we are delayed by 1 day in paying our NHIF dues, which actually at the moment we are in arrears, Honorable Speaker. So I want this House to support this motion so that we can get our dues on time, and when the Senate passes the bill, we get our funds as normal as we have been receiving, Honorable Speaker. So I urge the House to support the motion. Thank you.
Honorable Leader of Majority.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also rise to support the motion, Mr. Speaker. First of all, let me thank the committee for the report. And the
Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Cynthia Muge.
Honorable Speaker, how would you give the Honorable Majority 2 chances to actually speak to a motion when he was the first one, Honorable Speaker?
You were sleeping.
Order. Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Order, Leader of Majority. Order, honorable members. Order. What is it, Honorable Gideon?
Mr. Speaker, with due respect to the Leader of Majority, who is our Leader of Majority, and we are reading from the same script today, he has clearly contributed by asking you to put the question. He indeed stood. And I think he should withdraw the offensive statement order. Speaker. We are supporting him. We are here. He should be just be rest assured that we are
Order, Leader of Majority. Order, Leader of Majority. You need to withdraw and apologize to the honorable member for
I have not contributed, Honorable Speaker.
Order, Honorable Leader of Majority, withdraw and apologize to the member for Kiliboni. And Leader of Majority, I called upon your name because you caught my eye that you are rising, and I wanted to give you a second to know what you wanted to mention, but not to contribute. So, Leader of Majority,
you told me you contribute.
Order. I guided you that in the future you would be guided. So, Leader of Majority.
So guide me then, Honorable Speaker.
Leader of Majority, you have to withdraw and apologize to the Leader member.
Withdraw.
You must apologize, Leader of Majority. Leader of Majority, you must apologize. Out of order, Leader of Majority, you must apologize. That's the Leader of Majority, you had contributed, and so if it was not in any other provisions in the standing orders, then I would go for the right of reply. What is it, order? What is it, Honorable Leader of Majority?
Speaker, allow me to inquire from the Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, it could make me change my mind. Allow me to inquire 2 things from the Honorable Chair so that he can be able to respond while giving a right of reply.
What is it,
Honorable Speaker, I have 2 issues. Number 1, it is clear that the 381 employees are not going to be paid from this report. Number 2, the money that is going to be paid is net salary. It has been stated clearly under the committee findings that the county executive is only going to pay the net salaries, and the county assembly is going to pay the gross salaries. Honorable Speaker, I just want to get from the Honorable Chair of this committee why there is 350 million, which is sufficient enough or adequate for every member or every staff, both the executive and the assembly, to be paid their gross salaries. Honorable Speaker, I want to get a response from the chair. What exactly is the figure of either the gross or either the net pay? And again, Honorable Speaker, the balances, because there are a lot of balances. The highest the gross payment can cost is roughly, of course, the wage bill of Nandi County keeps changing every day and every hour. It could be around 320 million. We want to know where the 30 million is going and what exactly is the figure that is going to be borrowed, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, with those inquiries, because we are all suffering, maybe I could reconsider, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Chairman Ngetich, you want to right of reply, and if you may have facts to respond to the inquiries by Member Cynthia.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to give the right of reply. First, Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the honorable members, those who are for and those who are against. I want to thank Honorable Cynthia Muge for having a second thought, and I want to believe that everyone is changing to that direction. Honorable members, I want to believe the term borrowing is not borrowing as such. I would like to say that it is a sort of advance payment, so that when the Senate actually is through with the stalemate, the normal process will take place, and they will come and replace the borrow. This is for the short time. And honorable members, I want to inform this House that what we are after is to pay all our employees, those who are working for this county government. That is as per the recommendations of the committee. Nobody should be left out so long as he or she is working in a facility. They deserve to be paid. Secondly, I want to concur with all the members that NHIF should be included so that all our employees, if they have any problem with sickness, they get treatment in as anybody else. Otherwise, honorable members, the issues raised by Honorable Cynthia Muge, I hope one of them I have clarified that we would like everybody who is working for this county to be paid. Secondly, this advance payment will be reviewed by this House. We would like to get statements for the amount of money which has been borrowed before the other money. It should be given to the Committee on Finance and Economic Planning, so that the committee should report to the House on the same. If that will not happen, then we will stop. This House will have that mandate to stop the bank, to terminate the borrowing. That is what I want to assure this House, because this borrowing is actually meant to cushion the members, and we hope and pray that the stalemate will not take 2 months. That is because the whole nation is crying, and I want to believe that by the end of this month, that stalemate will be over. I want to tell you, members, I know we have, we as members of this county have accounts in all the banks. I happen to have worked in an institution. We used to have monies for development, but we were anticipating that in the coming years, parents will pay for that money. We could start a project knowing that the money will not be enough, and we could approach banks. So banks want to get what we call a service charge from the parents. So when you open an account with a bank, when parents are paying fees, the more the payments, the more the money they receive. So Equity Bank, to my satisfaction, is that they know that if they reach into agreement with the Nandi County government, most of its employees will open their accounts with Equity Bank. And by so doing, Equity Bank will get service commissions from all those members. Imagine if about 2,000 employees open their accounts with Equity Bank, and for every transaction you make, you pay 100. When you say in a month, even if each and every employee does one transaction, in that month, Equity Bank will receive over 200,000. That is a lot of money. Leave alone saying that, and that is business. That is what I want to inform Honorable Cynthia, that it is another way of luring all the employees to open their accounts with Equity Bank. And Equity Bank will have benefited. Otherwise, as a committee, we don't anticipate that the interest will accrue so that the county suffers. So I want to urge you, my colleagues, I want to urge all my colleagues that we support, and then we be vigilant so that
Order. What is it, Honorable Fred? Order, Honorable Ngatich.
Ningependa kuuliza Mheshimiwa Ngetich ya kwamba nani huwa wanachelewa, ni kaunti ya Nandi ama serikali kuu? Kwa sababu serikali kuu wakichelewa hatuna chochote, lazima tutachachiwa.
Honorable Ngetich, would you be concluding?
So I want to urge my colleagues, honorable members, that let us support in case we see that the system is not working. Everything is on our is in the hands of the county assembly. We can still terminate. That is my request and appeal to the honorable members. This is because of the sufferings of our employees. So, Honorable Speaker, maybe there are some few amendments to be made, like the ones to say that all our...
Order, Honorable Ngetich. At the point you are giving a response, and I think, Honorable Ngetich, you will continue to learn on how this matter.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Fred.
Honorable Ngetich. Mheshimiwa Speaker, iko kwa sheria Mheshimiwa Ngetich, wakati Speaker anaongea anasimama Mheshimiwa Speaker. Iko kwa sheria Mheshimiwa Speaker.
He is out of order clearly, Honorable Fred. Honorable Ngetich, conclude, and you are guided.
I stand guided. So I urge all the honorable members, let us support this motion for the sake of our employees in this county, more so the Department of Health and roads, as you have heard from all the honorable members. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
All right, honorable members, I therefore proceed to put a question, which is that this House adopts Finance and Economic Planning Committee report on Cabinet Memo number 002 of 2020 on short-term borrowing laid on the table of the House on 9th of September 2020. Will as many as of the same opinion say aye? Aye. Of our contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, adjournment.
Honorable members, this assembly is adjourned until the next normal sitting.